Reti is one of the most well-known study composers, so it's hardly surprising that he also has a composition featured in the series of the most beautiful chess problems of all time. We have the white pieces, we have this puny little pawn, and we have to defend against 3 black pawns. Yes, that's not easy, but there is a way for white to hold a draw here. And with that, pause the video and try to find the solution yourself. Feel free to take the opportunity to pause the video. And now let's take a look at what the solution looks like. So first of all, if we try to push the white pawn straight ahead, it can simply be stopped by the black king. So that's not the solution. And the first move, yes, I think it looks fairly logical. King to g6. We're attacking this pawn here. And yes, but with both the f and h pawns, they should be able to promote fairly quickly. So how can white still defend against that? Let's first take a look at what black would play here. One of these pawn moves doesn't do much because then the white king can simply capture it. The best move for black here is just first simply take a step towards the pawn and say, hey, take just this pawn, because then I can start pushing my other pawns. That's exactly what black will do. Let's start with f5. What happens then? The king moves to f6 and keeps an eye on the f5 pawn, but the second function also involves the c6 pawn. It could be supported at some point. And how does it continue? Black plays f4 and then the king moves to e5, showing a very, very nice dual function of the king. We're threatening to capture the f4 pawn, and at the same time, we're also threatening to go to d6 to support our own pawn here. And yes, 2 possibilities. Black could capture this pawn here, but then we would take the f4 pawn and the h6 pawn would also fall fairly soon. So the other possibility. f3, saying, hey, I'll break through first, what are you going to do? We support our own pawn. f2, c7. Yes, and if you now think, okay, I'll just move the black king 1 square forward to prevent the pawn promotion, then white can also invest that 1 tempo. Black promotes, white promotes with check in this situation, but even aside from that, this is a queen endgame. And even though black has that 1 extra pawn here, technically speaking, a draw, although one has to say, okay, white will still have to fight a bit here. Let's go back to this situation. So if black plays f5, then as we've seen, white can hold the draw. What happens if h5 is played? Well, it's relatively similar. Black captures the f6 pawn here. Black really has to respond with h4 in order to at least hint at some winning chances. White plays e5 here and continues to fulfill this dual role, supporting the c6 pawn while also keeping an eye on the h4 pawn. How does it continue? h3, and then the king would support again. And yes, support the c6 pawn so it can break through. And if black doesn't play h3 here, the king captures the f6 pawn, and then we're definitely inside the pawn square and can catch it. And that's how white holds the draw. That was the study for today. And if you liked it, subscribe to the English localized NeoPlietsch channel. I'd appreciate it. And if you're interested in more studies, I've linked another one here for you. Feel free to click on it, and I'll see you again in a moment.